Oh, hey, everybody. How's everybody doing? Have you missed me? I've been off for a couple of weeks, been traveling a little bit, going to some women's conference, getting myself refreshed and uplifted because you have to take care of yourself and make sure that you're getting fed as well as you're feeding others. I just want to say hello and welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Dr. Yolanda Butler. This is A Mother's Perspective, a podcast that just reaches out to mothers, children, just trying to get them on the right track and focusing on their health, their mental, and things that we deal with every everyday life. So that's what we're here for. And so I want to dig into something that has been on my heart and been on my mind because we have families, we have children, we have co-workers, we have people we interact with, in church, neighbors, all of that. And it was something that hit me was that because we're in this life and differences and different type of people and personalities, we run into a little conflict. We run into a little conflict. And what I'm getting to is that, yes, you run into a little conflict, but don't let the conflict consume you. So when we look at conflict, and it's just something that's gonna happen. It's inevitable. You be in the grocery store buying something, and somebody run past you and bump you and don't say excuse me. And you like, really? Can you say excuse me? But we can't let these things just overtake us. And what I'm noticing, from different avenues and watching the news, there's just a whole lot of conflict where people are causing people harm. And so that I was really just wanted to touch bases with that. And so, like I said, it's going to happen. And conflict will happen where there's difference of opinions or purpose that frustrates someone's goals or desires. Someone goals or desires. And it's not always, conflict is not always bad because, sometimes it'll cause you to do better, or you sometimes when you don't take the criticism right, you'll get yourself upset. But if you sit back and think about it, I do need to make some changes in my life. So there are some things that will happen. So, and another main cause of conflict are misunderstandings, differences, and then you got competition, and then just some bad habits and people with bad personalities. So these things will happen, but we cannot let these things overtake us. At some point, there has to be forgiveness, letting it go. Forgiveness and letting it go. And like I said, there's different personalities because of these conflicts. People with different values, different gifts, different expectations, different interests, even just different opinions. But I'm learning, and we all have to learn that, hey, we got to get along because we all need each other, you know? One of the songs grew up with reach out and touch somebody's hand. These are things that we have to get back to. And in this Mother's Perspective episode, I just want to talk about that. What are we to get back to being forgiving and not causing the conflict to ruin the relationship? Not to ruin the relationship. So I was doing some studying. I always like to do some digging in and some research and find out some information about this forgiveness. Because when we have this conflict, somewhere down the line, there's got to be a conversation that we're going to put this aside and move on and love and care for one another. And a lot of times, everybody wants to be heard, but nobody wants to just take the step back and begin to say, okay, let me hear your point of view. Let me hear what you got to say. And no interruption. no interruption. And so then you hear them. And what I found out in my own personal journey in dealing with different conflicts and situations, because that could be on your job, in your home, is when I sit down and hear, listen to what the individual or the person is saying, from your husband, your children, just hear what they're saying. Then I could take and look and examine it and find a common ground where, okay, I can see your point. I can see your point. But a lot of times our conflict get to the very bitterness and grudges where we just not letting things go. And it's not healthy. It's not healthy. So we have to have forgiveness in our life. When and forgiveness, we always deal with is somebody that hurt you, and you want to hold that resentment. And forgiveness is it's not so much for them, but it was ease your pain so you can move forward. You cannot hold on to stuff, and I hold on to stuff and continue to replay it in your mind, rehash it, talking about it. That's not letting it go. Letting it go is it never again comes up. That's letting it go. And what I've experienced is when the main reason, the main point that I'm trying to get out, the main point is I know you have not let it go when you talk about it or the situation when it was 15 years ago and you're talking about it like it just happened yesterday. You have not let it go. You say, oh, I'm just telling them what happened, but why do anybody need to know that information? It's old, it's past. It should not be regurgitated. And what you're doing, you're replaying it, and you're replaying it in your heart, in your mind, in your very being, to the point you still reliving it. You still reliving the situation or the circumstance. You still reliving the hurt, the pain. You're still reliving it. And as a mother that have adult children, that have dealt with adults, lived long enough to have conflicts and people hurt me and went through situations, I've come to find out you have to let it go. So at some point, everyone has been hurt by some type of words or actions by another person. And these incidents can range from everyday disappointments, such as misunderstandings with friends or a setback at work, to be or a deeply painful event, such as, bullying or abuse. These things come up. And so sometimes these experiences may leave lasting feelings or resentment, bitterness, and anger. And sometimes these events and situations lead to complete hatred. And so you have to get past it. But if you hold on to that pain, you might be the one who pays the price dearly, because not by embracing forgiveness, you may be more at peace and hope. Because it takes energy to hate. It takes energy to resentment, to remember what they did to me, how they treated me. It takes all of your energy, and you're wondering why you're feeling tired and worn out, because you're putting all your energy into something that happened so long ago or just yesterday, and you have not let it go or forgave. You have to get to that point of forgiveness. So, what is forgiveness? Forgiveness means different things to different people, but in general, it involves a combination of acceptance and intentional decision to let go of resentment and anger. To let go of resentment and anger. again, to let go resentment and anger. Because if you don't, guess what? That stuff will build up on the inside of you. You remembering the act, the hurt, the offense. When you're working on forgiveness, it will ease that pain of what happened. It will ease that pain of what happened. Forgiveness can also help free you from the control of the person that harmed you. And sometimes we can get upset about the littlest things, the smallest things. Okay, you loaned them money, they didn't pay you back. Let it go. They just don't get the opportunity to borrow no more money. That's all. It's no need to be mad because my mother used to always tell me they gonna need you more than you need them. And so you just let it go. Love them, keep moving on because their situation is going to come around again and they're going to try and ask again and you just put them in remembrance. Hey, my friend, my girl, my brother, my daughter, my son, hey, I loaned you such and such. You didn't pay me back. So you don't get a chance to come back and borrow from me again. So, but there's no need to be resent. Oh, they didn't pay me back. I ain't talking to them. No, let's not get yourself all worked up with that anger and resentment. Let's not get you upset. So sometimes forgiveness might allow for feelings or understanding and empathy and compassion for the one that hurt you. So, sometimes, in our own self, we be like, I'm not forgiving them. They hurt me. They did me wrong. I'm gonna get them back. And you be trying to get vengeance back, revenge. No. I come to find out if we can just get along and when situations occur, talk about it. Because there's going to be it's a conflict, it's a situation, it's trouble. If we could just get along and talk about it, even in our families, if we could just go to individuals instead of talking about them behind their back, instead of having powwows with the family members you like and talking about the ones you don't like, why not go to them and say, hey, this situation, I did not like how you treated me. I did not like what you said to me. I don't like even the altercation or how we fell out. I don't like that. And I want us to come together and get a resolution and resolve. I want to let it go. I want to forgive you and I want you to forgive me. Because it could go both ways sometimes. And so that's what I want to impart or impart in the atmosphere today to mothers, daughters, fathers, sons, uncles, aunts, co-workers, bosses, to let's get past the conflict and forgive. And then once we forgive, let's treat each other better with love and care, compassion. I found out sometimes, you just have to let things go because sometimes if they're not willing to have that conversation, if they're not willing to hear you and then you hear them, and you may need a mediator, somebody that's just neutral in the whole situation. Because I found out when we have a conversation, when we talk about it, it's not as big as we thought it was. So we need to get past that. So what are the benefits of forgiving someone? Letting go of the grudges and the bitterness can make way for a greater well-being or a person, a peace of mind. And I really see in our society today, from children to adults, people need that peace of mind. They need that opportunity for someone to say, let it go. And I'm giving that to you today. Let it go. Breathe. Let it go. It's not that, no, I say that it's not that deep, some of the situations and circumstances that we go through. Now, I guarantee you, there may be some circumstances and situations that can get, really, really detrimental. I'm not talking about those situations because that's a whole nother level. I'm talking about those situations where they, as I said, they didn't pay you back your money, or they didn't come to your birthday party, or you heard they was talking about you and somebody told you about it. Well, go to them and say, hey, I was informed you said this about me. Why are you talking about me? I thought we was cool. These are conversations that need to come up, and we need to talk about it. A lot of times she talking about me. Well, I'm not talking. Let's not get to that point. Let's have a conversation. Our society is so full of individuals with anger and resentment and bitterness, where we hurting each other, we killing each other. Even in domestic violence, husbands killing wives and children. We got to get past all of this anger and get to a place of peace. And definitely in our homes. If it's not going right, leave the home. Don't harm individuals, because when you harm, that affects a whole family and community. So we have to forgive and let it go. Let it go. I just want to get my scripture that I got. I always give a biblical point of view. And my biblical point of view is coming from 1 Corinthians, the 3rd chapter, the 12th and the 13th verse. And it says, therefore, as God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved, clothe yourself with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Bear with each other and forgive one another. If any of you has a grievance against someone, forgive as the Lord forgave you. Now, I know what you're going to say. First of all, Dr. Butler, you said, therefore, as God's chosen people. I don't go to church. I don't believe in God. Well, I'll come to let you know, whether you believe or not, whether you're in church or not, you're still God's people, created in his likeness and his image. So I just want to let you know that. So I'm not going to go any further with that, but that's what I want to let you know. And he loves you. All right? So what are the benefits of forgiving someone? Letting go of grudges and bitterness can make a way of greater well-being and a peace of mind. Forgiveness can lead to healthier relationships. That's what we're talking about. We want healthy relationships in the home, outside the home, even in the workplace. I dealt with situations on my job when I was working, and it wasn't so much that the situation got better for me. I got better. I forgave them. I let it go. And I found my peace. Right there in the midst of the chaos, I found my peace. And it was through my God that showed me, hey, you my chosen one. Be at peace. And I was at peace. And no matter what conflict came toward me at my job where I was working at for 30 years, no matter what the conflict was, I learned to rise above it. I learned to set my own atmosphere. My atmosphere environment is peace. And so I continue to practice that till it just became my nature. It just became who I was. So healthier relationships. Another benefit is you improve your mental health, because now you all in your head, they talking about me and they doing me wrong, and your mind is just going crazy. Your thoughts is just all over the place, and that's not good for you. That's not good for you. And I found out too, even when you lay down and rest, you can't really rest because your mind has just got all kind of thoughts coming at you, you know, and then you can't even have a relationship because you always mentally thinking somebody out to get you or somebody's trying to hurt you. And so these mental thoughts and these mental thoughts and all that's going in your mind, they will improve if you just let it go. If you just let it go. Then you got less anxiety, stress, and hostility. You know, you see people that's just mad all the time. They have no smile. You know, the sun is shining. It's a beautiful day. They'll give you something negative. Well, it's too hot and it's gonna rain and just something not even to really, just negative. No peace at all. No happiness, no joy, nothing. And so if you let it go and forgive, you'll have less anxiety, stress. Stress is a killer. Stress is a killer. Raise your blood pressure, it causes heart situations, cause pain in your body. Stress is a killer. So we cannot allow our bodies to take on all of this because we won't forgive. And then hostility, because I've seen individuals just ready to fight over nothing. Over nothing. But because they're hostile, hostile means they ready to fight. They're ready to go off on somebody. You ever say hello to an individual and they're like, hello, just bite your head off, and they're like, wait, calm down, and that's what I see going on in our families, in our neighborhoods. We got to get to a place of peace. And as it go back to that conflict resolution and just having a conversation, just talking about it calmly. Everybody's calmed down. No hostility, no stress, no anxiety. Just calming down. And so when we forgive, when we let it go, it will cause this to be less in your life. And then this part right here, you will have fewer symptoms of depression. A lot of times we don't even know we depressed. We think life is just dealt you a bad hand of cards. When actuality, you just need to let some things go and forgive some people in your life. That's what needs to happen. And if you do that, these you'll feel some joy. You'll feel, you feeling better about you living, because if you get symptoms of depression and that depression go too far, you can harm yourself. And we don't want that to happen. We don't want that to happen. So we got to forgive and let this go. We got to forgive and let things go. We will have fewer symptoms of depression. If you one of them ones, you could be overeating because you're depressed. You could be oversleeping, which you're always tired. You're always in the bed. That's depression. That's part of depression. Those are symptoms of that. If you up and about and going, and people inviting you, come on, let's go out. Let's hang out. No, I don't want to. I just want to stay home. Those are symptoms of depression. And you can have fewer of those. And then as I talked about that blood pressure, it will lower your blood pressure. It also will strengthen your immune system. And then it will improve your heart health. And then guess what? You'll have a greater self-esteem if you just forgive. Have that conversation. Hey, I want to have a conversation. Now, there are individuals that may not be living anymore that you have to forgive. Well, you'll never get that. You'll never get that conversation with them. But what you can do is let it go, because that you can do. You can let it go, and you can say, I forgive them, and let it go. No more bringing it up. No more talking about it. and just going on. Stop the hurt. Stop the pain. If you would just forgive, that you no longer bringing it back up. As we said, forgiveness, it involves in a combination of acceptance and intentional decision. Intentional decision to let go of resentment and anger. To let go of resentment and anger. And you're like, Dr. Butler, you don't know what I've been through. You don't know what they did to me. You don't know what my husband did to me. You don't know what my wife, my kids, that you don't know what they did to me. I had a terrible upbringing. My childhood was ugly. But guess what? All of that is in the past. And you can't change anything about it. But right today, you can forgive and let it go. Breathe. Let it go. Don't bring the conversation up. Don't bring the hurt up. Don't bring the anger up. Let it go. And then in the process, and I've always said that, find something that you enjoy, that will give you joy. Even if it's just watching Steve Harvey on Family Feud, something to make you laugh. Do that. If it's something that you enjoy, like I said, I love gardening. If it's something you just go garden. If you just like jumping in your car and just riding, I'm one of those individuals too. Just jumping in my car and just riding and just go out to areas you haven't seen before. Go to the park. We're right on the lake. Sit over there and water and the motion of water is calming. Go to the lake and listen to the water and just calm. And then you know where I'm going. Get that word out. Get your Bible out. Put on your gospel music. Or if you just put on a little jazz and just relax and let it go. But the biggest part of forgiveness is a combination of acceptance and intentionally making that decision to let go of resentment, hurt, pain, and bitterness. Thank you so much. This is Dr. Yolanda Butler. I love you. Thank you for tuning in. Share this podcast. And if you could jump on live with me so I could see your comments and all of that we could have a conversation, that would be great. Until next time, I will see you.